In today's video, we're going to break down the classic 3/4 retreat march, When the Battle is Over. Stay tuned. Well, hello everybody, I'm Matt Willis Bagpiper, and on this channel I make videos to make you a stronger and more confident piper. If you like this kind of content, please think about giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. I also teach Skype and online lessons if you want more personalized instruction, but more on that later. Today we're going to be breaking down the tune When the Battle is Over. This is a classic 3/4 march that every piper has to know. It's a great tune for all sorts of more somber events and is played at many massed band events at various Highland Games and similar events, so definitely one to have in your repertoire. Now today, for everybody, you're going to be getting the entire version of When the Battle is Over. In this series up until now, I've been giving just one portion of the tune and then having you have to either join my Patreon to get the entire tune, or you could purchase just that tune and some play-along MP3 files. But today I'm offering this whole tune for free so everyone can check out what you can get in this classic series with the other tunes. Sales pitch over, let's get to what we're going to be doing today here. So in this classic series breakdown, I take the tunes and I start spelling them out, really stretching them out so that you can see all of the various bits and things within the tune spelled out in a way where even the most basic player who understands the scale and grace notes can start playing these classic melodies. But I promise you, it's not just for beginners. Much more advanced players can get a lot out of these tunes in this method because it really helps clean up all of your ornaments, your grips, your doublings, all of that stuff because they're spelled out in a way where you can see. We're going to take this 3/4 and first open it up by taking it all the way to 12/4, meaning we're going to take the quarter notes and make them now whole notes. So they go from 1 beat to 4 full beats, and every note is 4 times as long. But the most important part is it takes the parts of the embellishment, say the G's in a grip or the C in the middle of a C doubling, and these grace notes, which I call sounding tones, are represented by eighth notes in the music here. Once we can play the tune successfully at 12/4, then we can speed it up, keeping the tempo the same, but we'll be having it written out in 6/4 time, meaning it'll be just twice as long, before finally seeing one that's in 3/4, but with all the ornaments still spelled out where you can see how the timing of the grace notes and the sounding tones of those ornaments, where they're taking their time from. And then finally, the last page has the tune written as per normal bagpipe, stuff with all of the normal embellishments written together. Now this starts with the standard A-B grip to C cadence that so many of our wonderful tunes start with, and there's a video right up in this corner and the description below specifically about this bit of notes right here put together. But let's talk about how we're going to do it here. So we'll start with the G grace note to low A, so pointer finger in the air as you start blowing, it comes down. We're going to hold this for 2.5 beats before going up to a B. From here, we'll drop straight down to low G, making sure both fingers come down smartly together and we don't get a run through that A. D grace note to separate to a second G, and then a clean lift to C. And again, we don't want to run on the way up. We want both fingers coming up smartly together for a good clean C. I have a metronome set here at 75 beats per minute, so let's go ahead and try this first little bit. If you're a beginner and that's too fast, go ahead, slow it down, or even try it several times without the metronome first to make sure we're getting all the notes clean and accurate. Then from C, we'll go up to a high A doubling, here spelled out with an eighth note A, and then a sweep of the thumb across the hole in the back to a 3.5 beat A after that. From there, from high A, we're going to head down to an F, so ring finger up, pointer and thumb down, and this is a half F doubling, kind of an unusual name. I didn't name it, but we can't put a G grace note between a high A and an F, so we'll go straight to the F, and then lift a single grace note to separate that F into 2, and then down to an E, just the middle finger down for 2 beats after that. Let's go ahead, start from the beginning, and get all the way to this E in the second measure. Then from E, we're going to do a G grace note to C. This is the beginning of a C doubling that has been spelled out. To do this, we're going to be on E, lift the top pointer, bottom, middle, and ring. These two coming up for C, this coming up because of the grace note. Then we'll lower top pointer, top ring, and the pinky to a C. Stay on that for half a beat, and then pop out a D grace note, that bottom pointer finger, for that C doubling. And then from here, we're going to do a low G catch to an A. So from C, both fingers down, lift to that A. We'll hold that for 4 beats, and we're already done with the first phrase of the tune. Now let's try this whole first phrase, first 2 bars of When the Battle Is Over at 75. Starting into the second phrase, the second line in this case of this tune, we have another A-B grip to C. We're not going to discuss it again. We just did it right immediately above it. But from the C, rather than going up to a high A doubling, we're heading to an E doubling. So C, G grace note to E, and then an F grace note on E. So we've done the E, G grace note to C. We're going to flip that around. Same fingers are involved. C, we're going to lift the top pointer and ring and bottom pinky before lowering the top pointer, bottom ring, and bottom middle to get to that E. So C, G grace note to E, and then we'll use the F grace note, that middle finger on the top hand, to separate that E out into 2 to make it a doubling. From the C up to that E doubling. From that E, we'll head down to a C, and then starting the next measure, we're going to go into a B doubling. So we're going to lift the top pointer, bottom pinky, lower to a B, separate with a D grace note into a second B. And then from there, we'll do a low G catch to an A. Let's try this phrase from the beginning to that low G catch to A. To end this phrase, on this A, we're going to head back to low G. Yes, we just went to A with the G. This is one of the cooler parts of the tune, if you ask me. We get 3 Gs in a row. It's pretty neat. Low G to A. From this A, we're going to do a grip to a B, again spelled out here, down to low G, D grace note, and maybe one of the trickier parts, we have to go straight from low G to B. If you find you get a run, and they don't want to move together, practice just lifting that ring finger by itself, leaving the pinky down, and isolating that finger. When you can do that without too much discomfort, try going from one finger to both fingers like this. When you can do that successfully, try to put it into the tune. I'm going to start on the A right before this grip just to practice that little tricky bit of business here. And again. And we can see this is a super long note. We're going to hold it for 8 full counts. Yeesh. That symbol that we've seen a few times through this is called a tie. And that means we're holding the note across that entire time. We're not separating it with any sort of either stoppage of the air or any sort of grace note. We're going to just hold it for 8 full beats. Let's try the entirety of this phrase. Now, moving on to the third phrase, it's the same as the first phrase, so we're not going to do it again. This tune is quite repetitive, and that might sound like a negative, but it's not. If there's not things and ideas, motifs that repeat in the music, it just sounds like a sequence of notes. So repetition isn't bad, and it makes learning tunes a little bit easier when you can see how they're related. So Line 3, quite literally, exactly the same thing as line 1. Then line 4 starts exactly like line 2. In fact, the first measure is exactly the same. We're going to look just at that final measure then. In this case, we're coming from a C at the end of the measure before it, G grace note to a B that will hold for 3 full beats before we go up to a C, down to a low G, and then up to an A. Let's start on that C right before that final measure. And that whole phrase put together. That's the entire first part of this tune, and to be honest, it's almost all of the second part too. You'll see why in just a moment. But let's try this entire first part. I'm going to up the metronome. 88 seems like a good speed. We'll speed it up just a bit, but there's no need for you to speed it up. If 88's feeling fast or even 75 is feeling fast, put the metronome wherever you need to make sure you can get every one of these note changes good, clean, and accurate. Moving on to part 2. In this tune, there's only 2 more measures of music we have to learn before we've played all of the various repeating bits of this particular melody. So we will be ending on a low A at the end of the part before, coming up to an E doubling starting line 5. So from here, just the top hand is moving. We'll have the pointer and ring lift. Pointer comes down to get a good solid G grace note to E, then halfway across the beat, we'll do an F grace note, the middle finger for that E doubling, separating a second E. Hold that for 2.5 beats before heading down to a single beat C, down to a B doubling, just like we did above. We've already done a C to a B doubling, so we won't discuss that again. And then a low G to A from B. Again, both come down, one up. Make sure we're not getting a run. So both down smartly together, maybe even trying to get that pinky down first or thinking about that if you do find you're running through that A. Then from that low A, we'll hit a high A, sweep of the thumb for an A doubling, to a high G, just the thumb, making sure the ring finger comes off the chanter. Super common to leave that on. Don't let that happen to you. So high A, sweep the thumb, down to G, down to F, single grace note on F. We'll hold that for 3.5 beats before doing a single G grace note to E, and that's it. This phrase isn't too bad, and it's the last one we have to learn today. Let's try this whole phrase. From there, the line underneath, exactly the same as line 2. The line under that, the second to bottom line, is exactly like line 5. And then the bottom line is exactly like line 4. So that's the entire tune. Let's bring this metronome back up to 88 and try this entire second part at 12/4. Let's move on now to the 6/4 version. Everything is the same as we did, it's just now the notes are half as long in how they're written on the page as before, helping you speed up and get this tune up to full speed. Let's try this tune at 6/4. Now let's play this tune at full speed, 3/4. It doesn't matter which one of the versions you look at, they're played the same, even if they look quite different in their, well, how they look. Look at the one that's going to help you the most, whether it's the spelled out version or the full version, or maybe go back and forth. I am going to slow the metronome down to 80. When the battle is over, 3/4, 80 beats per minute. There you go, everybody. When the battle is over, fantastic 3/4 march, one that every piper has to have in their repertoire. And remember, everyone, there's a free PDF of the entire tune and 10 MP3 play-along files, 2 different tunings at 5 different tempos, so that you can build this tune up and get it completely under control and perfected. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you got something out of the video, please think about giving it a like, subscribing to the channel, and sharing with anyone that you think, well, could play when the battle is over, perhaps a little better. And a special shout out to all of my Patreon members. These are folks that support the channel on a monthly basis. And for those that support at the Thistle level or above, you get access to all of the Classic Breakdown series from now until, well, I stop making them, which is not anytime soon. I got a bunch of tunes I want to cover. So think about heading over and joining the Patreon. This channel wouldn't be possible without the support of all of these fine people, and I'd love to add your name to the list of people that you see scrolling up right now. I also have a line of bagpipe merchandise like this fine hoodie we see here, or this lovely Highland bagpipe embellishment tree here, which has every Highland bagpipe ornament and how it's played and timed. But there's also t-shirts and hats and mugs like this prescription bagpipe mug here, so go check out the bagpipe merch. I also teach Skype and online lessons. Go ahead and head over to www.commandyourbagpipe.com or email me at the address you see here, and we'll get you going. I'm working with folks from all over the planet, and I hope to work with you soon. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Matt Willis, and until next time, cheers.